It's been 10 months since the last Unsealed episode, and here we are, back on camera, facing a new direction. This is where I spend a lot of my time now for work, is here in this office, so I had to do a little bit of moving things around, but I am here, I am back, at least for one more episode, probably for a few more, we'll see how it goes. And I have a game to open for you that goes all the way back to 1996, so this game is more than 25 years old. I've been waiting to open it for a while, and I'm kind of glad that I sat on it because now there's a reason for me to open it because it relates to something that was recently released. The Capcom Fighting Collection came out for the Switch, for other platforms as well this past week. It is a collection, as you might expect, of Capcom fighting games that we've been waiting on for a little while. We really haven't seen. Mostly in regards to the Darkstalkers series. We have Darkstalkers and Night Warriors and Vampire Savior, and Red Earth is here. I haven't played Red Earth before at all, so this is going to be my first try with this. There's also the Hyper Street Fighter 2 Anniversary Collection Edition, which came out as part of the Street Fighter 2 Anniversary Collection for the PlayStation 2 a while back. That is the game for the PS2, by the way, that has the Street Fighter 2 animated movie included in that, and it's something I got to get back around to watching. But there are also two other games on here that are related to fighting, but aren't the typical fighting game that you'd be used to. One of them is called Super Gem Fighter, which is also known as Pocket Fighter here in the US. That is a game that I opened for this channel just after Christmas, I think 3 years ago. I had put out a Twitter poll asking which game I should open, and Pocket Fighter won. So I opened that up. Honestly, I still haven't had a chance to play that open copy, but I do have it. There's one other game on this collection, though, and it is a game that has spurred this episode of Unsealed today after 10 long months. And it is, drum roll please, in your head, it is Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, which came out for the PlayStation in late 1996. And it is a game that plays very similarly to Puyo Puyo if you're used to that. Puyo Puyo is not really my thing, if I'm being completely honest. I'm more of a Tetris guy, or maybe kind of like a typical Match 3, like a Puzzle Quest kind of person. So the Puyo Puyo games and their reliance upon chain reactions always kind of stymied me, but because this relies on the Street Fighter 2 and Darkstalkers universe of Capcom characters, I had always been interested in it. And yes, I did own it, although used, for the PlayStation during its time. When it came out in late 96 and early 97, it was really before the big explosion of PlayStation releases in 97 that really hooked me, like your Ace Combat 2 and your Parappa the Rapper and your Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and of course your Final Fantasy VII. So in late 1996, aside from like your Tekken 2, the library was it was hanging in there, but it wasn't anything that was overly impressive, at least not to me. So I don't remember if I got this game specifically at launch, but I think it was pretty close to it. I might have bought it used. I don't really remember. But this is a sealed, factory sealed copy. Still has the label at the top there, which is tough to see because of the color washout. I'm sorry about that. I don't really know how to fix my camera, and getting the right lighting in here is kind of a pain in the rear end. But we're going to open this up. This has been sitting in plastic for more than 25 years. It has been sitting here in my office for a long time because I didn't know when or even if I was going to go back to making Unsealed stuff. But after putting out a Twitter poll recently, just like I did for Pocket Fighter, I asked this very basic question. Should I open a sealed magazine, which was Next Generation for July 1997, which is 25 years old now, or to open this copy of Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo and this one? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to open this up for this episode of Unsealed. So this was the puzzle game of the year, according to Ultra Game Players, for its November 1996 issue. So Ultra Game Players obviously liked it, and Next Generation liked it too, gave it 4 stars as well. So there is a lot to like with this, in that it uses Street Fighter characters. It's a puzzle game, so you're not really needing to know any kind of special moves like quarter circle forward or charge back and then forward or anything like that. You don't have to worry about blocking per se. It is all in your puzzle know-how using these super deformed versions. As you can see, Ryu there looking kind of tiny, kind of small, using these super deformed characters, these cutesy characters to attract more people to the Street Fighter realm. When we take a look at the back of the case, and I'll try and bend this so that you can see the screens a little bit better. It is very much super deformed, and unlike Puyo Puyo that uses these gelatin type things, this game uses gems very similar to Super Gem Fighter. So if you've played that before, you get a feeling, you get a sense of what this game is like, but rather than being a fighting game, it is a puzzle game. So let's go ahead and release this guy from its shackles, shall we? This will not be an overly long episode, as I don't have a ton of personal experience with this, but let's go ahead and open this up. There goes the plastic. And the microphone can pick up that sound, that glorious sound, that sound the collectors hate of me opening sealed games. I know they hate it. And we'll take the ID sticker off the top here. I'm gonna try and keep this on there, though. There we go. All right, when we open up the case, I want to kind of do it just like this. So when we open up the case is broken, which is going to happen with jewel cases. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. So I can get another jewel case. But when we open up the case, the first thing we see is the Super Puzzle Fighter 2 disc, which is in red. Again, we have Ryu on the front. And we take a look at the bottom. And this is why I love these. Like, you can see my reflection in my reflection inside of my reflection. This is a very clean disc because it has not been used before. And that's one of the reasons that I really love doing this show, is because unlike buying used games, when you buy something that's brand new that no one's ever played before, you're the first person using that disc. There's no scratches, there's no impurities, there's no irregularities. The game's just going to work. And that's why I love doing this. Not just because it takes me back to when I bought these games new to begin with, and I can relive that experience of looking in the instruction manual for the first time or telling stories of when I bought the game brand new. But also, now I can enjoy these games for years to come because they're brand new. They haven't been touched. I'm going to be taking good care of them, keeping them in their cases, not putting my fingerprints on them, not using them as drink coasters. I'm going to take very good care of these games. Although, like I said, I do have to get a new jewel case for this guy. So here's the instruction manual that's now outside of the case. This is what the back of the manual looks like. There's no advertising here. There's just the picture of the super deformed characters that we can see. The manual, unfortunately, is in black and white, and it is 20 pages long. Man, I wish I had remembered this from before. There is, and I know it's kind of tough to see, but there's an ad here for some Capcom merchandise. This merchandise includes t-shirts, strategy guides, leather backpack, some posters. If I had had the money back then, actually, I gotta be honest, I probably did have the money back then. I just didn't think to do anything like this. Back when this game came out in late 96, early 97, it was a weird time in my life. My paternal grandmother had just died, basically my best friend, someone who I'd been living with. So I was in the process of changing locations, changing where I was living. I just started dating somebody who was not a good influence on me, and we kind of fought back and forth on video game stuff. She hated my video game habit. So I wasn't about to get a lot more video game stuff. I got just enough stuff that I really liked playing. And otherwise, a lot of my video gaming took place in arcades, going to malls and things like that back then. So I really wasn't thinking about getting posters or strategy guides because I needed to keep my video game collection on the down low because my girlfriend just didn't like the fact that I was a gamer. That's a story for a different video, though. I don't really want to get into that too much. So when we open up the manual, the first thing we see is the picture of the system and the console and the controller. Not really difficult to learn how to play. And how to catch puzzle fever. And I am going to have to remove my glasses for this one because it's kind of tough to read this print in black and white. So this is what it says. It says, just when the battle was heading towards a complete free-for-all, the puzzle war breaks out and you're cast into the conflict to drown your opponent in gems. Capcom's awesome new puzzler has rules so basic and play that's so catchy and fun that you can't help but get hooked. Beat your opponent to the punch by stacking gem after gem on their side of the screen. Use the special crash gem to break gems on your side and drop them on your weary foe. Kill your enemy's side before they do the same, and KO, you win. And that's really what this is. It's kind of like that Tetris derivative, right? You want to try and get the opponent's screen filled up so that you win. You can see Dan Hibiki over here on the side. So there are normal gems, power gems, and crash gems. Again, if you played Puyo Puyo, you understand how this works. What you really want to do is eliminate your gems by getting this crash gem to match up with colors of same gems. So you can build like bigger and bigger gems if you stack them on top of each other. When you drop that crash gem, you make all of those go away. And then the number of gems that you lose that you make go away, you make those appear on the other side of the screen for your opponent. So if you're really good and you can get some chain reactions going where you can remove a lot of gems at once, you can really turn the tide of battle awfully quick, where it looks like you're almost done, and then you send almost all of those gems to the other side of the screen, and it is a complete role reversal. It's neat when that happens, but because my skill set is so poor, that very rarely happens for me. Let's see, rainbow gems, counter gems. So the game modes here, there aren't very many. There's arcade mode, street puzzle mode, versus mode. There are some goodies. What does the goodies screen say? Does it say? It does not say. There's an option mode, so you can set up the difficulty if you want to. And then you walk through and it shows you the different characters, shows you the character designs, and it also shows you the gems setup. Like when you drop gems on the opponent, it shows how those gems are dropped and the color design that they are in. Also of note here is the Super Puzzle Fighter 2 warranty card or registration card. I love these. Let's see what this says. Name, street address, city, state, zip, phone number, all stuff that now we just put in online these days. Tell us about yourself. Who purchased this game? Male, female, or age? Who plays this game the most? What systems do you own? This gives you an idea of the landscape at the time of the game's release. So Super Nintendo's still here. The Genesis, PlayStation, Saturn, 3DO is still here. Loving the 3DO. PC CD-ROM, Mac CD-ROM, Game Gear. Nomad is here. Nomad making a nice little appearance. And the N64. Did you rent this game before purchasing it? I don't see that question too much. The answer for me was no. I did not do a lot of game rentals during the PlayStation era. I bought games more than I played them. I always thought with game rentals, that kind of died out for me during the cartridge era. And the big reason for that is because a lot of the disc-based games that I would look at to rent, they were just hacked up to all goodness gracious. You could not see your reflection in there, so I worried that they weren't going to work. I wanted games that I could look at the disc before I bought it, if I was buying used, or I would just buy brand new and bring it home and play it for the first time, much like I do for the show. Where did you purchase this game? Toy store, mass merchant, mail order, or software specialty? I was really hoping that they were going to list stores, but they didn't in this one. How did you hear about this game? Friend, salesperson, magazine ad, TV, game review. I think I heard about this through game reviews and magazine stuff. Newspaper, internet, demo, package, rental, or other. Which publications do you read regularly? If you've watched this series, you know I love this question because it takes us back to the video game magazine era. So listing them, we have EGM, thumbs up, Game Fan, Game Players, which is Ultra Game Players at the time, Game Pro, Next Generation, Dimension, don't remember that one, Wired, Spin, Computer Gaming World, or CGW if you want to be technical about it, PC Gamer, Marvel Comics, DC Comics, or other. Do you have access to the online services or the internet? Now, at this time frame, in late 96 and through 1997, much of 1997, I did not. I actually went to internet cafes to be able to get my internet fix. So I would get off of work and I would go to the local mall and I would pay my time, like my hour or whatever, and I would use their computer to surf to video gaming websites to catch up on news that video game magazines didn't have. That's how I accessed the internet until late 1997, when I used my mom's computer, and then AOL, and things kind of blossomed from there. Are you familiar with Capcom's webpage? Yes or no? And what are the main reasons the player purchased the game? Gameplay, box design, graphics recommended, demonstration, gift, played before, price, or other. Me, with this game, if they were asking me why I bought it, it's because it has Street Fighter 2 stuff on it, and I'm a sucker for Street Fighter 2 stuff, so that's how they sucked me in there. So again, we have more of the characters here. We have Chun-Li, and we have Sakura. And then we get to the Darkstalkers characters in Morrigan and Felicia. And again, I love these super deformed designs. Cienko and Donovan, again, I believe still from the Darkstalkers universe. Man, you can take notes. You could definitely take notes if you wanted to. And then we got to the available from Capcom at the end. So that is what the instruction manual looks like. Now, you don't have to buy this game anymore on the PlayStation if you don't want to, because you can play it through the Capcom Fighting Collection if you are so inclined, if it's something that interests you. Whether it's going to be your kind of game or not really depends on what kind of a puzzle player you are. If you're not really into puzzle games that much, I don't know that I'd recommend it. I honestly think that if you're more of a fighting game fan, but you like the super deformed style, that Pocket Fighter or Super Gem Fighter would be more up your alley. And again, you can play that on the Capcom Fighting Collection at your leisure. I'm very excited for the Capcom Arcade Cabinet #2 that's coming out, or Capcom Arcade Stadium #2, which is coming out in July, because that's going to have the first 2 of 3 Street Fighter Alpha games on there, and everyone who knows me knows that the Street Fighter Alpha series is my favorite. I love Street Fighter 2, don't get me wrong. Really like Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Super Street Fighter 2, I'm kind of I'm on. But the Alpha games, oh yes. I love Street Fighter Alpha 3. It is my favorite fighting game of all time, but Alpha and Alpha 2 are not too far behind it. And if there was one series of fighting games that I could play the rest of my life, it would be the Alpha game. So I'm looking forward to those in Capcom Arcade Stadium #2, which comes out in July. There's a bunch of other games coming with it as well, so you should definitely check that out. Unfortunately, it's download only. It's not going to be physical, but definitely look into that if you're into arcade games like I am. So that's it for this return episode of Unsealed. If you want me to do more, let me know in the comments if you think that's interesting. I do have a lot more games in the corner. I have a couple of sealed title Legends games that I definitely will open. I have a copy of NHL 98, which I'm going to open, although that's going to be much later. I want to do that when the next season starts, so during the fall. I have some Madden games that I want to open up, and I have a bunch more other stuff that I want to get to. So if you like these, definitely let me know what you think. In the meantime, though, thanks very much for watching. I appreciate it, and we'll do it again soon.